Hello everyone, welcome to the Dandelion Biology series. My name is Hyunseung or Steve Go, and today's video will be the first part for the cell biology unit. So when you first open up the unit, you'll probably be greeted with the cell theory, where you'll get a basic idea of what we think cells are. The theory states that 1. All living things are made of cells, 2. All cells come from pre-existing cells, and 3. Cells are the smallest unit of life. Of course, there are exceptions to these, hence the name theory. The first exception over here is the skeletal muscle. These cells are known to share nuclei between one another, making it an exception to the part that states that cells are a unit. See these black dots here? They are dyed nuclei which are shared between different cells. Giant algae are an exception to the size rule, since the size of a giant algae, a single cell, can be as long as 10 centimeters, which definitely is just too big to be considered small enough, as multicellular organisms, like the standard insect, exist as multicellular organisms below said size. Now that we know what a cell is, what exactly do these cells do? All living things have a total of 7 common functions that they perform. Nutrition, which is how they obtain organic molecules for energy or essential nutrients. Growth, increasing in size and mass. Response, reacting to different stimuli like light or contact. Excretion, the removal of waste products. Metabolism, all chemical reactions that happen in an organism involved in sustaining life. Homeostasis, how the organisms work to keep parts of their internal conditions in an acceptable range. And reproduction, producing offspring. Before I mention that there are multicellular organisms, so let me explain what they are in contrast to unicellular organisms. First, we have unicellular organisms over here on the right, where every function that I just introduced now is just done within one cell. Here we have an example of a unicellular organism, the paramecium, a fairly common one, and you can see that there is just one cell doing everything. Now you would have guessed by now that multicellular organisms refer to those which perform the functions of life, but there are different cells within the organisms that are differentiated so they can perform different, more sophisticated tasks. For example, we have the human over here. Of course, we have a lot of different cells that do a lot of different things. So why do these organisms have to be divided up in the first place? Well, this is because of the exchange rate of materials with the outside world needed for cells to survive. One of the functions of life is metabolism. Again, all chemical reactions that happen in an organism, which is essential for the sustaining of life. Bigger organisms require more energy to do things, which means that the rate of metabolism goes up, increasing the need for far more reactants involved in said reactions. Here, if the rate of metabolism is faster than the rate at which an organism can replenish the stock of needed reactants, the organism loses energy or the ability to sustain certain functions and eventually perishes. A way to increase the rate of exchanging materials with the outside of the cell is to increase the surface area, since larger amounts of materials can either leave or enter the cells. Diagrams like over here, which show a cube being cubed up into smaller and smaller cubes, show how the same volume dividing smaller subunits increases its surface area and therefore increases an organism's chance in survival. As you can see, the surface area to volume ratio is much bigger when you divide it up into these small parts. Surface area is a very important concept in bio and will appear throughout your learning. For example, the wrinkles in your brain grant us a large surface area for the neurons to exchange needed materials. We've touched on cells for a while, so we should probably now look at how we're going to see them. The table lists a couple of methods for us to see what the difference is between different kinds of microscopes. Microscopes can be first divided into two big categories, light and electron over here. And electron microscopes can further be divided into transmission and scanning, for which are the varieties we're going to work with. As you can see, the resolution of the light microscope is lower than that of the electron microscopes because light has a longer wavelength and electrons have a shorter wavelength, and shorter wavelengths are better in terms of having high resolutions. Because we see color through light over here, we can see color in light microscopes, but we cannot see color in electron microscopes, both transmission and scanning. Light microscopes also have an advantage of being able to see living creatures. Sorry, that was a bit of a typo. Because electron microscopes over here, they can't see they can't see living creatures because the electron rays may be able to kill the living organisms that we are going to observe. Light microscopes and transmission electron microscopes can see 2D images, as you can see down here, 1 and 2. And electron microscopes, the scanning electron microscopes, can see 3D structures. That's all from Dandelion for today. If you have any questions, please comment down below. And if you would like to stay tuned for further videos, please click subscribe. See you next time.